All right, so I'm going to use the Illumilite White. This is a 2-minute work time, so I'm going to prepare ahead of time and put my powders and my dyes in the cups beforehand and measure them with it in it. So
you just give a basic background first before you get going, what you're making, what you're using.
Yeah.
I think there's people who don't know much about Castle like me.
In
Okay.
me.
So there's different resins that you can use. And since this is going to be a quick demo and not something I can draw out, I'm using the fast 2-minute work time, but 10-minute cure. So it's Illumilite White. And you get this at Arizona Silhouette. But seriously, 2-minute cure time, 2-minute work time. And once it says 2 minutes, it's like 1.5 minutes before it starts to solidify. And then this is the one you can get at Hobby Lobby. It's the same work time, but this is a tan color, supposedly. I don't know. I haven't used it, so it's going to be a new one for me. And I will be casting one in my with the clear slow, which is a 12-minute work time, and it's a 2.5 hour cure time. With the clear slow, I usually cast, and once I pull it out, demold it, I cut it down size and I turn it right away. Other people like to wait 24 hours, but I say send it.
Does the slow need a pressure pot or?
Yep. All these need pressure.
Okay.
I use lizard blank molds for the most part. I will be upgrading to the brick style, so I can just take a bandsaw or table saw and cut them down. Or you can make your own out of core board, the core plastic stuff, and I just hot glue it together. Big thing you don't want to forget is the stoner, which is a mold release, or it's going to be a pain in the ass to get it out. Speaking of experience, don't forget the mold release. What are you doing? Stop doing things. What are you doing? Drop it. Give me that. Stop eating stuff. Shoo. There's other types of resin that you can use, like Total Boat, 5-minute epoxy, but they do take longer to cure. They don't require a pressure pot just because of their length of cure on it. You can use a pressure pot, it's not going to kill it. Some people like to put, depending on how long a cure time is, they like to put it in a vacuum pot and pull the bubbles to the top, but you really can't do that without a chemical called a surfactant, which helps break the surface tension, and it's all complicated stuff that I try not to pay attention to. Ben could tell you all about it. He worked at a place called Polyroll, and they did polyurethane casting, big projects, and so they use mold, like all sorts of different harnesses, size molds, and the surfactant. But they use this a paint spinner, and then help get the bubbles, push the bubbles out to the surface. But I don't have a paint spinner, so I'm just doing it the old-fashioned way. John requested blue, so I'm using Illumilite bright blue, blue green, sky blue, and ocean blue powders. I don't use a lot of blues. For some reason, I always gravitate towards the reds, so this will be a treat. And for the dyes, I'm using translucent blue and ocean blue. Normally when I do my slow, I tend to put them in I pour A, then B, and then put my colors in, just so I know I mix them right. But with the white and the tan, you'll know when they're mix properly. And when it starts to
What?
cure, the white will start to turn white.
What's the difference between the liquid and the powder?
It's just you got a translucent where you got a metallic. There's not much. It's just a liquid dye. The powders give you like a metallic, a pearl sheen, but the dyes are just color. They're pigment.
Okay.
You can get glow in the dark powders, and you can get fluorescent pigments. I don't think I can do. Yeah, I don't think I have glow in the dark pigment. However, you can mix the glow in the dark glow in the dark powder with the pigment, which I'll be doing. I'll be mixing both. Hold on a second. I think that dog is. Oh. Sorry, dog is stealing girls. For pressure pots, you can go to Harbor Freight and get one of the paint pots that's for like the spray painting, and you just put a relief valve up top. That's pretty much all you have to do with an inlet valve. I didn't do much to this. I just added a new regulator. Pretty much that's it with a quick connect. But this is a 2 gallon. They're normally a 2.5 gallon. This is a pretty old pot. And then my 5 gallon you can get right at Woodcraft. And it's got a flat bottom, which is great because you don't have to worry about having it bowled, kind of like the paint pots do. But I just put a tray in the bottom and level it out. Come on, look at me. So that's that. So what I'm going to do with, I'm going to do a couple of test pours. They're quick, and then I'll do a fun hybrid pour. So what I'll do is pour part A first, then I'll do part B. That way I can measure this out.
Kelly, are those pieces of wood already stabilized?
Yep. Yeah,
They
they're
have
cut
to be
off.
stabilized, right?
They don't have to be because it's actually getting encased in the resin, but I stabilize it. These are just cut-offs from other projects I was working on.
Yeah,
This helps it prevent it from cracking or separating.
right.
Well, not separating, but just expanding.
I would think when you turn it, it's more of a consistent. If
Yep.
you stabilize it as well, yeah.
Yep,
What
and
do
you
you
don't
do?
have to worry about it
What do
after
you-
the fact.
What do you do to stabilize it?
I stabilize the wood in my vacuum chamber, but I use Shed Life's SOS 3.0 for resin. So I pour it in a bucket and I submerge it into the bucket and then move it in there and let it just like soak in with the vacuum on anywhere between 8 to 24 hours, depending on how porous the wood is and how much it's pulling that resin into the wood. It also helps it seal everything so it doesn't expand and contrast in the cold. When you stabilize it, it kind of just pretty much petrifies the wood and it's stuck where it is. So make sure the wood's dead, pretty much. Because wood, if you just turn regular wood, as you know, it's going to expand and contrast with the weather, and this stops it from doing that.
So Kelly, I have a question.
Sure.
I know nothing about casting.
Mhm.
Every one of those forms has a piece of wood in it. It's not just 100% resin.
I do 100% resin. This is what we call the hybrid.
Okay.
A hybrid blank. So you're going to have part wood, part resin. Let me see if I have done. I've got pieces I've cut. I got a sample. So when you do a resin, a hybrid blank, you're gonna have it go around the piece of wood, and when you're turning, you're gonna turn it down to the wood. Like this was a high end, that's why I cut these, so that they were a higher end. As I turned, it would have been just wood at the end. Kind of like this. This is an example of a blown out chunk that I have to recast. But you can see the resin there. It just didn't stick to it proper. It was a cold. It was mostly a cold pour, so it didn't stick with the blank. So when I turned it, it blew off. Because this is already a stabilized piece, so you want to have it heat up your mold, heat up your wood, and then pour it so it kind of bonds. But as you turn, you can see it coming like through. So it would have been all resin down here and then wood up here. But, you can make your own. I use lizard blanks, as I said, which are MDF material, or you can use the plastic core board from Home Depot and just hot glue it together. Make sure you do seams on the inside as well so it doesn't leak out. Put your mold release in, then put your blanks, whatever you're going to cast. You can cast anything, honestly. You can put aluminum honeycomb in there. You can put coffee beans in there. You can put all sorts of stuff, plastic. You can put other pieces of resin in there, like scraps. I saved some of my acrylic cues and I put them, I'll cast them in clear. So it's like a confetti type of blank. You literally cast anything. Bones, bugs, all sorts of cool stuff. But like I said, we're going to experiment with some white and tan today. So I measure it's 1-to-1 mixture. So try to get everything as close as possible with weight. I'm doing
So you do everything by weight then, not by,
Yep.
not by fluid ounces or whatever, okay.
Yep.
Is there color in that cup also?
Yep. I put this is one of the blues. I think it's bright blue. I'm doing sky blue right now.
Do these resins have an odor?
No, not that I know, but then again, my sinuses don't work for crap. But I don't really smell. No, the white doesn't have an odor.
Yeah, I find usually the epoxy ones don't, but the polyurethane ones do.
I think they all smell when you turn them though, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, these are poly. The urethanes, I think, are the ones that smell. I think the urethanes are the ones that smell. Because this is a poly. Oh no, this urethane? I don't.
The 1-part ones where you just put the mech in, those stink
Yeah.
when you're mixing
Yeah,
it.
pretty bad, yeah.
Usually the 2-part ones, I haven't found those to be too smelly. At least the ones I've used.
I haven't noticed any smell with these. All right, so what one am I going to use? I'm just going to mix the color in before I pour B in because I've got to set my timer. Don't be too worried about air bubbles. in your mix right now because it's going in a pressure pot anyway. So as long as you get it mostly mixed in, you'll be fine.
What's the working time on that one, on this stuff?
2 minutes.
It is 2 minutes? Oh,
These are 2 minutes because I'm using Illuminate white.
seems like we've been watching you for 5 already.
I haven't put part B in. This is just part A. So until I put
Oh, okay.
until you put part B in, I think you have like a
Uh-huh.
30-minute shelf life, something like that. But I'm mixing the pigment right now, so I don't have to do it after. And I can just, it's one less step that I have to do, just because these are such a fast curing resin. I think once a month, Illumilite actually does a live demo on Facebook with different mixes, different pours for different things that they do. So I just did all the pigments. This is the kind of the pigment dye, not the powders rather. I kind of think the pigments are a little bit more difficult to mix in. They kind of sink, they're a little heavier. So if you don't mix it all the way, you get a clear spot. With pigment, you can actually, or with the powders, you can actually see when you have it all mixed in. So, just went doing all this. And of course, the more pigment you add into it, the darker it's going to be.
Is it translucent? So when you say make a pen blank, do you have to paint the inside of the bore on the pen blank?
Have to.
Or it's solid color?
It usually turns into a solid color. It depends on how dark you're going to make it. If you go in light and you don't want to see the tube, then yeah, you'd want to paint it. But I usually leave my brass tubes exposed. It just gives it a cool look.
Okay.
I actually did a blue hybrid blank, and I left the brass tube exposed, and I purposely didn't mix the pigment all the way, so it was like blue, clear, with a little bit of metallic into it. And it actually got pretty cool where you could see the brass tube behind it.
Mhm.
It looked like an ocean theme, like it's supposed to. All right. Here's the fun part. And this will heat up too. It does have a chemical reaction. All right, the two first ones, they're all heated up, so I'm gonna start my pours.
Now, is that gonna layer in the mold or is it gonna swirl together or kind of some of both?
If I leave it, it'll just kind of like go to the bottom, but I'm gonna swirl them.
Okay. Oh, okay, there you go, okay.
It's already starting to harden up. It's already starting to turn white. All right. That's gotta go in the mold. They already started to harden up, like it's already starting to turn white.
Mhm.
I gotta get these into the pot.
Does that 2-minute time include the time it takes you to get it into the pot and closed?
Yeah, like 30 seconds for that before it starts to turn white.
Yeah, okay.
Now, Kelly, you
That's working
spray
on-
those molds with that release spray first, right? Before you pour that stuff in? You,
What was that?
you spray those molds with that spray release? Before you
Yep.
put them in?
That first. Yeah, I do that first before I start working with them, just because I'll forget.
It's working under pressure, man.
Problem with this whole pressure pot is if I don't line it up just right, it's leak. So it's kind of a pain in the ass. But I like my newer pressure pot.
Kelly, how much pressure do you have in that tank?
I normally run it at 60, but I put it at 50 right now.
50?
Yeah. I run it between 40 and 50, 40 and 60.
How long does it stay in there?
10 minutes.
Okay.
My big one here.
Did you say 10 minutes? I'm sorry.
The white.
Okay, thanks.
And that, what's that doing for you? Driving the air out of the solution?
Yeah, pulling all the, it's putting pressure on it to bring all the bubbles to the top and then making it cure faster. It's a chemical reaction with heat. And if you get too much air and too much bubbles in there, you're going to see a lot of. It's not going to not look right, I guess I should say.
Mhm.
Is that negative pressure or positive pressure?
Positive. If it was negative, you'd be in a vacuum chamber, and
Okay.
that's like a degassing, and we don't really have the chemicals for that residentially. I mean, you do it commercially, but I don't have a setup for that. Nor the chemicals. They're kind of a pain in the ass to get. So this is a bigger mold. I'm gonna do red with blue. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do green. I think. What color goes with blue? Purple? Red? Green? Or purple in. Maybe a little harder. Normally it's a 1, maybe 2 color pour when you're doing white. Just because it takes no time for it to cure. Again, you can actually do the pigments with the powders, just like I did with this purple here. It doesn't hurt anything.
Do you have to do something special to suspend glitter, for example, in the resin?
Constantly mix it. Some of the micas or some of the powders come with glitter in it. Just before you pour, I just mix it and then just kind of keep mixing it as you pour.
Right.
It should be fine. If you're good with really timing it, you can time it as it gets tacky and pour it that way. But then again, you're risking not being able to get all your air bubbles out.
Right.
That doesn't feel like it's out all the way. You can also spray your mold release inside your pressure pot, just in case you do have a spill or a seam blowout. You can take it out of the pressure pots. Didn't do it I didn't cure it like that, and I had a seam blowout, and it was like, I want to say 1,200 grams of red translucent resin all over the bottom of my brand new pressure pot. Yeah. So that was not a fun day. Did I just pour B into this? I must have. Remember if I poured the B into this?
I don't think so.
It looks like it's pretty full. Weigh
Yeah, I
it
don't know.
again. You should be able
don't
to
know.
tell by the weight, right?
Yeah, but I didn't pour. I haven't mixed both sides yet, so I don't know if I poured B part first and then.
You poured the one that you have in your hand is what you already put in, I think.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. $60. 60.
obvious why these blanks cost so much now. This is a lot of work, man.
Sometimes I like using these slow if I can take my time and it's not as stressful as this is right now.
Yeah, right. But I'm saying when you buy them, commercially from the suppliers, they're a lot more expensive than wood is.
Yeah, because they can use like crazy amounts of colors. They have machines that can have stuff pre-mixed, and for somehow they keep them stable
Mhm.
when they're doing this process.
Probably use the slow drying stuff and, let it cure overnight and things like that, so.
Don't steal it. Hey, leave my wood alone. Go.
There's a difference between the Alumilite and the regular resins too. I mean, I know there's numerous different kinds of plastics. Which one do you prefer as far as turning goes?
I prefer the Alumilite.
Yeah,
It's just easier to work.
it is, yeah.
And I know it cure. I know how it cures. I know how it works.
Looks like we lost your camera. Oh, there you go.
Nope, you guys are right. I poured the A first. I can feel it heating up. So this particular one does have a smell to it. It does smell different than my slow, I should say. So there's a noticeable scent to it.
I don't think you mentioned, are you using a polyester or an epoxy resin, or is it a hybrid?
This is a polyurethane.
All right.
Well, this one might actually come out pretty cool. It's already starting to tack up on me. All right, in the pot this one goes. Might get loud in a minute, but I might have to turn my air compressor on. Fair warning. So you might want to mute my camera. All right, let's see how bad I screwed up the other one. The only reason I wear gloves is because I tend to get the pigment all over myself. So if I don't wear gloves, I tend to get dye all over my hands. So Lumelight White tends to turn everything white when it's cured. Let's try the tan after and see how that looks.
Kelly, you mentioned that Stoner product, which I love the name. What do you use that to spray onto those forms before you put the stuff in?
Yep, it's a mold release.
Okay.
'Cause if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be able to get these out. Too easy. So I'd have to turn them in order to see the mixed colors on the inside.
Mhm.
Because right now it just looks blue and white. Let those cool off and I'll hand them down, see how they look. Let's try the tan. Different colors. Anybody have different colors they want to try? I've got green, orange, copper, red, purples.
Red,
more blue.
purples,
What was that?
red and purples.
Okay.
You said you have copper?
Yep.
Okay. They come in silver and copper and gold and all the colors too then, huh?
Yep,
I
and
haven't
bronze,
seen, yeah, okay, I haven't seen those.
gold,
Uh-huh,
and pearl, which is like a silver.
uh-huh.
You have all sorts of different things. And that other black diamonds has a bunch of different colors, and the black metallic, this polycolor comes in different colors.
How much does a bottle of that dye stuff cost?
The powder or the pigment?
Oh, both, yeah, I mean, whatever you're using.
The pigments are $9.99, and then the dyes are $5.99.
Oh,
But I mean, you really don't need a lot. You literally could take
Yeah.
a little toothpick and put them in. I tend to overdo it, so I'm looking for a certain color most of the time. Let's see, we said red. I go through a lot of red, so I have to find the one that's open. I might not have opened it yet.
you've got a lot invested into equipment and chemicals there then, yeah?
Yeah, I just bought a little bit at a time and just built up the collection. Let's do some deep red with some copper because I do like those two combined. All right, let's work on those. All right, where's that store? I think I sprayed these. be careful where you spray the stuff. If you spray it on your floor, you're going ice skating. I don't care what anybody says. You'll land on your ass. It is very, it does its job well. Like you will slide all over the place. So try not to spray it on the floor. All right, so we're doing the tan, so I'm gonna put white over there so I don't get that confused. Tan. Here. So I haven't messed with this stuff yet. I'm just gonna pour it first and then deal with it.
What would you do differently if you were to be filling a large crack in a bowl?
I'd be using my slow and put it in the pressure pot. Or you can use a 5-minute epoxy.
Yep.
It depends on how much time you want you to, wait.
So the more time you wait, the longer it would have to fill up the crack.
Yep.
Got it.
And it would go, so with the 5-minute epoxy, it's kind of a quick cure, but you're not going to actually get it. I don't know. I wouldn't really trust it, but I know a couple of female turners that do it. I just don't like it. It's messier. It doesn't usually hold up as well. I've seen more blowouts on it. Where if I put it in a pressure pot, I know it's getting pushed into that inclusion and I know it's going to sit and do its job. Where was I?
Is there some resin that is thinner than others so that it would go into the crack?
Yep. Total Boat is a little thinner. I overdid it with part B, so I'm putting that extra part A in there for that. I'm not trying to ignore anybody. I'm just trying to get to the weight before it starts to activate. So this stuff is eating up considerably more than the white. Definitely notice a big difference out of these two. And it had a weird reaction with the purple powder. Well, that'd be different. Well, that's because I put the purple and the red together. Oh, I screwed that up. Copper, red. Oh, I'm gonna do this. And it already set.
Wow. Wow.
So this stuff is setting like a foam.
Bottle stopper.
Yeah, no, it's like a squishy foam.
Mm. Wow.
And it's extremely hot. And it still dried white, like the Lamont white.
Wow. That's definitely quick.
So we're gonna play with the good stuff.
You know, does the quick stuff and the slower stuff, do they turn differently?
What was that?
Is there a difference in the turning between the quick dry, the quick set and the normal set stuff? Is one more brittle than the other, or softer or harder?
No, they'll cure. The white stuff you usually wait a little longer to turn because it is a little softer. Come on. But I usually turn the 2.5 hour cure stuff right away. I don't wait for that to cure up. I'm going to switch over to my iPad just because I'm running out of battery on that. Okay. Did I lose everybody again? It'll look pretty neat when it's turned. For some reason, I can hear one of my dogs upstairs barking. Why is this time? further.
Can you move the iPad a little bit? We can't see the bench.
Move the,
Yeah.
put you back over here maybe? Or not, hold on. That won't work either, damn. Sorry, I'm trying to mess with the iPad, trying to. Come on. I had it the right side up, right? There, that a little better?
Yeah, except for when vertical. So you're real skinny. It's a,
Drop my iPad. I don't think I can.
yeah, that's better. That's better.
I think that says. Yeah. Let me see if I can up against this. There. As long
Oh,
as I don't
perfect.
breathe, I'll be fine. That didn't work. That ain't gonna work. Yeah, unfortunately, the only way I can sit you up is if I go like this. It's gonna be skinny.
That's fine, Kelly. That's fine.
So what's the width and length of the cavities of the molds?
See, we've got 6 by 3/4, or 6 by a third of an inch. So 6 inches by a third of an inch. The smaller ones. These are 6 by 2, I believe, by 2 by 2. And then this one is a 7 by 2 by 2. Then you have a 2 by 2 by 4, I want to say, for the bottle stoppers. These we're going to cast these. We'll have a hybrid. Come on. Sometimes I hate the gallon buckets because they're a pain in the ass to open after. Because they get caked in there with resin. So I like little pint pours. Here we go. What did I say? Yeah, 159. Plus, with the smaller containers, it's easier to measure out. So you'll actually see it get foggy and then it'll turn clear. That's why it's called Lumilight Clear. You can tell it's fogged up. Yep. You can see the bubbles. Ignore the bubbles because as soon as you put it in the pressure pot, it takes care of that. So I'm not too concerned with that. And it's the 12-minute work time. So I'm not under as much stress to do multicolors with this. Oop. That's a mess. Hey, Angel. You're supposed to go outside, Angel. Beaks, go. Beaks, upstairs. Castle outside. Come on, go upstairs. Go. Don't steal anything. Castle upstairs. Angel, stop stealing stuff. Angel, up. It's time to put the dog. Hey, upstairs. Angel, go. All right. You staying down here with me then? All right, whatever. Don't knock anything over. Hey, back up. Don't knock anything down. Stop. Angel. Don't knock my iPad over. Come on, Angel, go. Come on, Big Beaks.
Could you use Aniline dyes?
Emily's? What do you mean?
Aniline dyes, they're alcohol-based dyes for your pigments.
Possibly. I haven't tried it yet. Back up. Hey, will you go? Really, Beaks? Oh, I screwed that up. Also, you gotta kind of be careful with the tops, because if you don't, they just pop right off. Shh, I'm just gonna open that door. I wouldn't see why you couldn't do alcohol-based dye with this, because it's just a pigment. And it shouldn't have any effect on it. Have I tried that? Have I tried? I might have done an alcohol dye on one before, but I don't honestly remember. I could add some include infusion red in here if you wanted, or purple rather, to bring it a little lighter. It's up to you guys.
Sure.
Can't believe I dumped that red in that resin.
And when you did the big bowl blank that you brought the Woodcraft, did you do anything different with that as far as, you know, what resin you use or how fast you pour it or whatever?
Nope, I just mix it and put in a big bucket.
Okay, so it doesn't care
And then-
about how thick it is or,
No, but as long as I do a 1-to-1 cure to it, or 1-to-1 mixture.
yeah, I was just saying it's a lot of heat, possibly.
The slow doesn't actually heat up as bad as like that white and that tan stuff did.
Oh, okay.
The slow is a lot cooler for some reason, because it's slow activation. But for the bowls, like big bowls like that, I tend to pour it in one big size bowl, and then I take a smaller bowl and stick it in the middle to try and take out some of that negative waste, negative space. That way it's not so thick, if that makes sense.
Yep.
I don't think I put enough copper in here, but that's fine. Purple. Here. Darker purple around here somewhere. Let's put some. In here. Drop.
Hey Kelly, would you be able to mix up a white pearl?
Mhm.
So it actually looks like, you know, the pearl, it has the shimmering colors and things like that?
Yep. You want to do that now?
No, not now. So,
But yeah, you take you can actually just take the pearl powder,
pearl powder,
And then-
okay, there you go, okay.
and then you have white.
White, okay, okay, easy enough.
And so I made like a blue, a purple and red mix. I've got the copper and red. You know what? I'll put some more copper in there because it doesn't look enough copper for me. I don't like it. This is also why I like the slower stuff, because I can just sit here and dick around with colors until I like it.
Oh, sure, makes sense.
Yeah, that's a little better. Red. Translucent. That's gonna be good. And the purple. All right. Let's do these small ones. This I think I'll do red. wanted to save that one, didn't I? Yeah. But- yeah, almost done. Ready for food soon? What's the matter? Okay. Try to use different colors to layer, because you can layer them. Let's see. I want to do this red for this hybrid. I'll have to take pictures when they're done and send them out to the to Tom's email,
Yeah, I'd like to see those.
because these are going to be awesome. We're going to go out and eat dinner in a little bit here, so I probably won't pull them until the morning, because I'll probably forget to have them down here.
What's the cure time for that?
This is a 2 to 4 hour, but I usually pull them out 2.5. I have pulled them out at 2 when I haven't had any issues with them. But this is a longer working time. I just prefer working with the stuff because, like I said, I like messing with my colors.
Much less stressful too.
Yep. I find less waste. You got to be careful with the mixing inside too, because if you do too much swirling, you'll mix everything together and it'll just be one like weird color. It won't be like a swirling effect. Oh, I really like the color. I don't remember how to see. I like these colors and I don't pay attention to what I do to get to them, so I never remember how to make them again. So really should start writing shit down, but then again, I don't have time for that. I'm pretty sure I just mixed purple with red on this one. But again, I don't know. That looks pretty cool. So with these smaller blanks, I get 1 blank per case, but then this bigger blank I can get 2 to 4, depending on how thick I have to make my blanks cut. And that's why I usually wear gloves, because I always get stuff on me. Stick these in the pots. Is this the wood one? No, this isn't the wood one. Come on, get up. Sorry, I'm doing all this like out of picture, but it's just easy for me to crank on these same things. Yeah, so I don't have to worry about looking at the camera. The only thing I found with the pressure pots is that if you don't get them tight enough, they will leak at the gaskets. It's kind of annoying.
You have a pressure gauge on it, right? So you can tell when it leaks off?
Yep. And almost there. And that's 50. Nothing like that. If you have a leaky pressure pot, you can leave your air hose connected to it. And you won't have to worry about it draining overnight. But that's pretty much it. It's just mixing and pouring and making sure you have it within the right amount of time and have fun.
Cool.
It isn't hard. You just have to make sure that your part A and part B are mixed proper and have fun.
Nice. Thank you.
Hey, Kelly, I don't know if you can you see this here? How would you do one like this with 4 colors in it? And this is it's a.
Yeah, the camo blank. You just do what
camo
I.
pattern?
Yeah, you just do what I just did. I did 4 colors. You just mix the 4 different colors together at the same time. And you can wait until it starts to tack up a little bit with the slow. And I think that's around 10 minutes. It starts to get a little thick, like a not hardened, but it starts to get like a jelly, like a gel. And then you can pour your one color, then layer it with the next color, and then the other 2. And then you take your
Stick and swirl it,
stick
yeah.
and you swirl it depending on how you want your pattern. That's pretty much all I did with those other 2 or those other 4 I just poured.
With one like this would be, I think it's like little pieces.
Mhm.
It was made
So they
from, yeah.
sell pieces, little chunks like that you mix in. So there's separate little granules, I should say,
Yeah,
of either stone or other acrylic, and you mix them in. I don't have any of the crackled,
Okay.
but
I mean, I haven't seen your process, and I'm looking at this and say, how the heck did they do it? You know, it's.
yeah, they're little
Yeah.
pieces that they mix in together. Like
Yeah.
they'll do a solid color and then they'll mix with a
Yeah.
little chunks of either the black or the tan to do the speckled. They do that with the like you see a transparent piece and you see that ribbon in there. That piece of ribbon is actually a piece of acrylic, like it's like a shaved piece of acrylic, and they stick that in there on top in between the layers.
Oh, okay, okay.
So it's not like a ribbon of it, like color get mixed in. It's an actual piece of acrylic that they stick inside.
Solid piece, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Very interesting, man.
Kelly, how long have you been doing this?
Year and
Just about a year, yeah.
just over a year. I think a year and 4 months. It'll be 2
Oh.
years in
Yeah.
July, I think.
But I think it's really interesting. I had no
Cool,
idea
yeah.
what went into it, the amount of materials and effort that went into it. So
Exactly.
I
Oh, you
could
want me
see
to go
why,
grab that? They,
I could see why they charge so much for those.
well, the resin itself, like these, you're looking at $170 or something like that, $180 for whoever the tag is, of the gallons of slow.
Wow.
There is Illumilite. Oh, there is another one. It's called Illumilite Clear. And that's a 7-minute work time, but it's also, I think, a 4 to 6 hour cure time as well. I don't use that one as much, but if I have to, I'll do it. It's a little cheaper than the slow. But I prefer the slow because I can mix any colors I want within my time frame, and I don't have to like rush and get it done.
How about as far as hazards go? Do you feel safe working with that stuff?
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
drinking it. I'm not like eating it or inhaling it, so
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
not worried about it.
It's not an irritant or anything like that?
No. And like I said, Ben used to work at Polyroll over in London, or in Loudon, and he was with, it wasn't Illumilite, but with a urethane resin all day. Hasn't had any side effects on him yet, so.
He doesn't have a
Yet.
twitch or anything?
He worked there for 4 years, so our kid's normal, so I mean, it hasn't had any adverse effects on him yet, so.
Okay. Well, I thank you. This was interesting. I appreciate it.
Hey, cool, yeah.
Hey, Kelly, if you could send me either links or names of each of the products you use, I can include in the show notes on YouTube. So people, if they want to get it, it's easier to find for them.
Yep, I can do that. I can send, if I don't have your email on the list, I'll send everything to Tom and he can forward it to you.
Yep, that'll
fine.
work.
Yeah.
Do you want like lists of the pressure pots and the stoner mold release and the molds?
Whatever you use that you think people would need in order to, get up and running on this,
Okay.
so they can track it down and decide, what they want to buy and where they want to buy it.
I mean, the pressure pot,
Links would be really helpful.
there's no difference really with the making your own pressure pot versus buying a pressure pot as far as money saving, because you're still going to spend $100 on the pressure pot itself and an extra $20 on the fittings, when you can just spend $150 and get a professional 2.5 gallon pressure pot. I mean, some people want to do it themselves and other people, so I'll get the links to the pressure pots that are already pre-made up, so you don't have to worry about building your own and all that other stuff.
Good.
But I mean, I recommend the slow because as we witnessed, the tan and the whites tend to cure quick. That's still warm, actually. This is the tan stuff that we cured quick. It's still warm. So that's a cool experiment.
Is that stuff just junk now, or can you do something with it?
I can turn it out of the cup and make something out of it. I mean, I'm not going to toss it away. I'm going to do something fun with it. That one's got a piece of wood stuck in it now. So
Hybrid.
yeah, it'll get drilled up or bottle stopper or something. But
Anyway, so as far as stabilizing,
Mhm.
the basics you would need for that is a scale, a vacuum chamber or the pot, a vacuum pump,
I wouldn't even need a
and
scale
an oven, right?
for stabilizing wood. You don't need a scale. I don't use a scale.
You know?
I'm probably doing it wrong. I do use a scale for my
Because you got to mix the two parts, I know, A and B together, right?
for stabilizing or casting.
Stabilizing.
Nope, there's no part A or B with
There isn't?
Nope. So with cactus juice, you get your jug of resin, and then they
Yeah.
send you a little activator. You just pour the whole activator right into the jug, and then it's
Oh,
good
okay.
for. It's got a shelf life of a year, I believe, 1 or 2 years. I think it's a year. But then the
Okay.
stuff I use, the SOS stuff, is pre-mixed, and it comes in ready to go. So there's no
Okay,
way to mix
that
it.
way.
Dump
Okay.
it in a bucket and make sure your wood is fully submerged. Keep a weight on it because it's going to want to come
Right.
up,
Right.
and just keep it in. If you think the bubbles stopped, just keep it in for another hour until the bubbles are either completely done or it's like just one little bubble like every few minutes. And then either a little toaster oven like I use, or I use my kitchen oven too. Just get a big cookie tray, put it on the cookie tray.
Either one, let me do that. I gotta get.
It's not bad. It doesn't, actually, this stuff does not smell as bad as the cat.
Convince her, I'm not even gonna try.
I mean, I fix this stuff in my house, and I bought my own oven, and so I'm gonna use my stuff.
Yeah.
So when I do have a big order I have to do, I usually just go upstairs and turn the oven on at 220 and let it run for, it depends on how big the pieces are. Some be like 20 minutes all the way up to like 2 hours, just to make sure it's all cooked. And then after that, I come down and I'll sand it smooth because sometimes it'll bleed out and it'll cook, like drips will get at the bottom. And I sand that off, make it look clean. And then that's that for the stabilizing.
Do you have to dry the wood before you put it in the vacuum?
You can. I just take tinfoil, wrap it. I pat it off, and then I'll just wrap it in tinfoil and send it.
So you have to dry the wood prior to get all the moisture out of it?
Oh, you mean, yeah, I get it dried. 0.12, I think, percent. I try to get it really as dry as I can, but in my basement in New Hampshire, you're not going to have like 0.05 or whatever they recommend. So.
Well, that's below 1% moisture. That's hard to do. So.
Yeah. It's a little bit greener. You might get a warping, you might get twisting, but there is that pentactyl, there is a resin that you can use for green wood to stabilize it. I just don't have any because I tend to have more dry wood than green wood.
Someone gave me a gallon of it. He was moving. I didn't know what to do with it. So if anybody wants it, you're welcome to it.
The pentactyl stuff?
Pentacryl or something like that.
Yeah,
that's
something.
So I understand that's to stabilize green wood. It's basically a drying agent to dry the green wood. I don't think it would work in this process too well, though. I wouldn't think.
Yeah, no, you use that. You can use that in the vacuum chamber on the green wood. That will work with that. That's technically.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It'll work. It's just I don't use a lot of green wood, so I don't have any of that on here. Because all my stuff, I usually buy a lot of my stuff on auctions. I usually buy like spalted maple or curly spalted maple or quilted maples or burls, and they usually come in already started to dry, and I just leave them out on the shelf.
Yeah.
But my dad had started cutting down some maples out at his house and some birches that are green, so I might grab those and try it. Don't know yet. Depends
Did you
how
get
much.
any of that walnut yet? That Clara walnut?
Haven't gotten into it.
No.
I just have to get the
see how that
motivation.
comes out. Yeah.
I got to get the motivation to cut it. It's like it's going to be an all-day thing because I've got probably about 20 different size logs that I got to cut up, and I wanted to save some for gun stocks. So yeah, I got to go through them. And I've got that big walnut burl she had, that huge big thing. Yeah, I got that thing too. I got to cut up somehow.
Yeah. Get busy now.
Yeah, I know. I just got to get the motivation to do it.
I hear you.
Oh, I got to teach my kid in the morning, and then I got to go to the barn, and then I got to go run my errands. And then if I don't have to go help Ben go deliver a car in Massachusetts or way up in Bangor, Maine or something, then I get home and I'll clean my house. And it's like, do I really want to stop what I'm doing? Cut up the wood. Yeah, it's busy.
Yep, I can imagine. I'm retired and I'm busy, so I can imagine.
I still got to build my barn. I got to finish building it by February, move my horse over there. And then I've got another horse coming from Montana. So yeah, we're busy.
5 dogs and horses now. Starting your own farm. Wow.
Yep. Well, that was the whole point, was to I've got 56 acres I'm working on buying, and I'm putting my farm up, put my indoor arena, put my barn, I'm getting my livestock, building my ranch,
Good
and
for
I'm
you.
having a whole wood shop into the garage. And then my husband wants to do bladesmithing, so he's gonna have like a little forge and a little shed away from the house in the barn. So I just blow my shit out. And yeah, I'm just gonna grow some hay for putting about 30 acres in for hay, so I can have enough to feed my livestock and the horses, and then sell the rest to my uncle because he deals hay. And I'm gonna have 10 acres of an orchard and growing fruits and vegetables and stuff.
Yeah, I could have no time to play with wood.
Oh, plenty of times. That's why I got a 6-year-old who's gonna be learning how to do all that stuff too.
Yeah.
But
Oh, good for you. It sounds cool.
Very good.
yeah,
Well, thank
yeah,
you very much for the demo. That was
Yeah.
great. So,
It was fun. The experimental part was pretty cool.
yeah.
Not
A lot of work goes
probably
into it,
not
didn't
good.
realize. Sure,
What was that?
not many of us. I said, not many of us realize a lot of work goes into it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm
Yeah.
looking at these, and that's why they can sell them for what they do, you know, it's pretty labor intensive, yeah.
I like the there's some of them with they use coffee beans, espresso
I
beans.
saw those, yeah.
So when you turn it, you can smell the coffee.
Yeah.
Like I said, you can cast just about anything. Pine cones. My dog ate the pine cones that I was gonna use tonight. So I came downstairs and there was pine cones everywhere. So I couldn't save them to use them, and I don't feel like going outside in the snow to go dig up some more. So we didn't do pine cones tonight, but we did the wood. I'll pull those out in either when I get home from dinner or in the morning, and take pictures and send them out. And those other ones I think will come out pretty cool. I do have an order for a couple of different pens. I might cut them up and turn them tomorrow and see how they look, and take pictures of like before and after the blanks are done, just because they look, I'm excited. They look cool. Like I think they look cool. They look completely different when you pull them out. I mean, I poured this Galaxy blank. You can't really. Where the hell is my camera in here? So it's purple with
Yeah.
black, copper, red, and black, copper, and red. But it looks just like purple and black with a little bit of there we go, a little bit of that in there.
You see
But
a
once I
copper
turn
there,
it,
yeah.
when I turn it, it's completely different. It looks so
Yeah.
awesome, especially when the sun hit it. And I was able to get 5 blanks out of my 1/2 inch, and I was able to get 5 blanks out of my 1 inch set. So the 1/2 inch I usually do for like slim lines. Like this is a slim line blank. It's not cleaned up. You can still see some of the core board ribs on the end, because I really don't care. It
It'll
gets
turn
turned
away.
off.
Yeah, it'll turn away.
So,
It'd be cool to see it start to finish, you know, from mixing it to the finished pen. That'd be cool. If you could send us pictures, that'd be cool.
I'm gonna start doing recording stuff like that for my page or TikTok or YouTube or something. Just because I was really happy with this particular pour. It was just a hodgepodge of colors that I was like, oh, you know what? Let's try some black, some purple, some red, some copper, and we'll just go from there. And it turned out to be like a galaxy looking blank when it was finished, with the metallic, just a little bit of shimmer here and shimmer there. It looked like a galaxy, like a sky at night, and it was super cool. So I definitely need to do videos like that, but I just gotta get down here and do some more pours. And I also have to order more resin. I got 1 more gallon left after this. Because Christmas rush, like the rush before Christmas, everybody's buying everything. But it was just that week before Christmas. Leading up to it, we're like, oh, we're gonna have a bad Christmas this year. No, we did get some sales, so it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't as good as last year.
Yeah, that's how the store some of us sell and goes too. It's the Christmas rush, yeah.
Yeah. People are shopping late. So time to restock. Oh, and the stoner goes a long way. I mean, I've had this can for a year, and I still have about half a can left. You don't need a lot with the molds.
Mhm.
It just don't spray it on your floor because it makes everything slippery. It's like a silicone.
Mhm.
Pretty sure it's silicone. Let's see.
Thank you,
It
Kelly.
is.
Good job.
Yep, good job. Thank you very much.
Thank
Send
you.
me pictures and I'll send them out.
Yep.
All right.
And
Good
I'll
night,
send,
everyone.
like I said, I'll turn something tomorrow. One of them, maybe that hybrid blank, because I have somebody that wants a pen. I forget which pen it was that wanted a hybrid. So those burls, they were red molly, brown molly burls, burl pieces. So we'll see how it comes out. It was really cool, cool pour. So, but
All right, thanks for the education. It was awesome. It was cool.
Yeah. Good
yeah,
night,
I'm
all.
kind of boring, so